Kyle Peterson was an assistant manager at the Grand Irvine Laurent showroom in LA. The company was one of the biggest fashion brands across the states and was launching hundreds of outlets across the country. The most recent of them was the showroom in Las Vegas, Nevada. After a lot of persuasion, Kyle convinced his boss to promote him as the manager at the new showroom. He was more than excited to move there. He would party in Vegas, he thought. Until he reached the store. In the small, isolated town of Searchlight, 1 hour away from the city, located in the hot and humid desert. Here lived a small community in remote houses, and in the middle of this secluded town was the grand opening of the luxurious Irvine Laurent, where Kyle was all by himself except for one other salesman. "Hello, I'm Kyle. I was sent from LA to take up the position of manager here." "Cool, dude. I'm Brian." Dude? Really? Brian was in his 20s, and from the looks of it had gotten nowhere in his life. The only reason he had taken this job was so that he could watch girls dress up. But unfortunately for him, not a lot of people even came to the store. And most of the time, Kyle found Brian stuffing his face in magazines behind the counter. Around 3 p.m. was when a few customers started coming in, but they were mostly high school teens who couldn't afford to buy the designer products. "Brian, keep an eye on them." "All right, boss." Kyle took over the register while he caught a glimpse of Brian's magazines. "He brings these kind of magazines to work? How desperate a guy has to be." Kyle looked up to see Brian staring at the young woman, trying on the handbags. He then intentionally dropped his pen to get a better view of the girls from below. Not just desperate, but also doesn't have any control. "What do you think you're doing?" "I was just picking up my pen." "Come on, Jenna, let's get out of here, creep." As the young woman left, Brian came back to the counter chuckling. "Hot stuff," he said under his breath as he picked up his magazines again. The store was open till 10 p.m. every night, but people stopped coming after sunset, so the last 2 hours went by in pure boredom. After which, Kyle returned home. He rented a sublet at a duplex house belonging to an old woman named Betty Crimson. This was his only option nearest the store. Kyle's bedroom was on the 2nd floor, and Betty lived on the 1st. Betty was probably somewhere in her 60s, but she wasn't like other old women. She wore way too much makeup and was uncomfortably flirty around him. Kyle was organizing his room when he heard a knock on his door. He opened up to see Betty, wearing a sundress, red lipstick, and her hair in curls. "Hello, Kyle. Have you made yourself comfy? Do you like your room?" "It's all right." Taking a peek over her shoulder, Betty asked, "Are you single?" "Yes, I am." "That's what I thought. After a long day of work, you must be tired, so I thought I'd bring some food over for you." Betty handed Kyle a box and smiled. "You didn't have to go through the trouble." "It wasn't any trouble, but if you ever feel lonely or want company, or maybe just a friend to spend some time with, feel free to come down." Kyle watched as Betty twirled around and strutted down the stairs. Was she trying to flirt with me? She wants to be my girlfriend? She could be my granny. If work wasn't bad enough, being at home had become another worry for him, with Betty trying to hunt him down. She's not even a cougar, she's a jaguar. Every day he would come home to either a gift left behind for him, sometimes a cake, sometimes chocolate, and sometimes Betty would come herself. "Hey Kyle, the weather has been quite hot, hasn't it? I was making some drinks downstairs. Why don't you join me?" Kyle cringed seeing Betty twirling the belt on her robe. What did this woman think of herself? He was going to fall for someone like her? Not in this lifetime. Sorry, Betty, it's kind of late. I have work tomorrow. Maybe another day? The days were going by hopelessly. Until one day, while at the store, Kyle noticed a young woman step in. He was instantly attracted to her. She was so beautiful. Hello, welcome to the store. Can I help you with anything? I was looking to buy a dress. Alright, come with me. Kyle led the young woman to the dress section, where she picked out what she wanted and met him at the register. Nice choice. Thank you. I'm Kyle, by the way. I'm new to town. I was sent here from LA to run this new branch. Alicia, it's been quite convenient having this new store here. Now we don't have to travel an hour to the city to buy a dress. I guess so, but I still don't know anyone around here. It gets pretty boring after work, and this place is quite isolated. Would you know any places around here where I could go? Yeah, there's a BII lounge about half an hour away. I go there sometimes, you can try it out. Kyle handed Alicia her bag. Just when he heard a young woman scream on the other side of the store. He hurried to see the matter when he found her yelling at Brian. You were checking me out. No, I wasn't. Excuse me, miss, is there a problem? Your salesperson was checking me out. Can't a guy just look? Miss, I'm sure it was a misunderstanding. No. He's not fooling me. I apologize on his behalf. Were you looking to buy this bag? How about I give you a 30% discount? Kyle just barely managed to handle the situation, but the young woman was still quite upset, handing him a torn $50 note and barging out the door with her bag. But after settling everything, when Kyle returned to meet up with Alicia again, she was gone. Great, he was planning to ask her for her number. Now how am I going to find her? That night, Kyle lay in bed, still thinking about Alicia as he tried to fall asleep. But around midnight, he woke up hearing music from downstairs. What was Betty doing playing music at this time? Kyle crept downstairs and peeked in to see Betty wearing a gown and ball dancing in the middle of the room. Was she crazy? She still thinks of herself as a teenage girl dancing with her Prince Charming? How fortunate he was. He lost the most beautiful girl he had ever seen, and here this old woman was, going crazy for him. But the next 2 days went by, and Kyle couldn't stop thinking about Alicia. That's when he suddenly remembered the lounge she had mentioned. Maybe if he went there, he would find her. Brian, do you know where the BII lounge is? Yeah, but it closes at 9. Forget it. Can't leave the store before 10. It's alright, boss. You go have fun. I'll close up myself tonight. Are you sure you can handle it? Yeah, no problem. After giving it some thought, Kyle decided, why not? There was only 3 hours till closing and no one came after sunset anyways. So he packed up and headed to the BII lounge that evening. However, even after waiting till 9, he didn't spot Alicia, and ended up having dinner alone and returning home to Betty playing her loud ballroom music in the middle of the night again. Betty had played that music for quite some time last night. Nonetheless, Kyle got ready and headed to work. But when he got there, he found the store shut down. Brian, where are you? You didn't open the store? I did, but the police came. I'm at the precinct now. Confused, Kyle went to the precinct where he found Brian arrested. But when Kyle gave his identity, the police started questioning him as well. They took both his and Brian's fingerprints before sitting them in an empty room where one of the officers brought out a dress on the table. "Is this dress from your store?" "Yes, it is one of our dresses, but what is this all about?" "A young woman was found dead recently, wearing this dress, and the only fingerprints that were on it matched that of your salesman." "I didn't do anything but that I sold this dress to a man 2 nights ago. He came to the store right before closing. It was $250, but he had $300. I remember giving him a $50 and he left." "We've seen him in the security footage, but he was unidentifiable. Who was he?" "I don't know him. He was a tall, broad man. He was wearing an overcoat, a hat, and sunglasses. I couldn't see his face." "Had you seen him?" "No, I left the store early that evening." The police were highly suspicious of them both, however, had no choice but to allow them leave since they didn't have substantial evidence against them. But now, Kyle himself was in doubt whether Brian really had something to do with it. Exhausted, Kyle hurried to leave, just when he spotted someone familiar. It was Alicia. She was a police officer. Kyle walked up to her, but when she spotted him, she awkwardly froze. "What are you doing here?" "My employee got into a little trouble. Forget about him. I wanted to ask you for your number." "Don't you think asking out a police officer in a police station is a little strange? How about I think about it and I'll call you?" "Oh, I understand." Kyle sighed as he turned to leave. Yeah, right, she's going to call me. The only time fate brought them together, and he had to make a bad impression getting arrested and interrogated. But surprisingly, a few days later, Kyle got a call from an unknown number. "Hello, who is this?" "It's Alicia. This is Kyle, right?" "Officer Alicia? I was wondering if you would like to go out this Friday." Kyle was shocked but super excited when things worked out after all. On the next Friday evening, he and Alicia met up at a restaurant where they hit it off great. "I got something for you." "What's the occasion?" "Consider it a housewarming gift to welcome you to town. You're new here and you got into quite some trouble already. Would you mind if I open it?" "Of course you're gonna open it." Kyle excitedly opened the gift to find a nice watch. "This is nice. I'm glad you liked it." After dinner that night, Kyle and Alicia went out for a walk, in which they got talking. "So, how long have you been an officer?" "About 2 years. I actually wanted to ask you, what was the case behind arresting me at the precinct that day?" "It's a long story. For the past 10 years, there's been a series of killings in this town. Young women have always been the target. The signature has always been that this man dresses these women like ladies before violating them and taking their lives. But we haven't gotten far on the case, as the dresses found on previous women were bought from different places. But when we found this dress, for the first time we found a traceable clue, fingerprints of your salesperson Brian, so they arrested him and then you to inquire the matter. Are you suspecting Brian has something to do with this? We'll find out soon." After a good time, Alicia and Kyle bid each other farewell. As he walked home that night, he looked at the watch Alicia gifted her. He wanted to get something special for her too. But there was just one problem. He was short on cash. When he got home, Betty hurried out to meet him. "What's wrong, Kyle? Why do you look sad?" "Betty, would it be possible for me to borrow $200 from the rent? I'll pay you back next week." "Yeah, sure. I'll get it for you right now." Within a while, Betty came out with the money and handed it to him. "Thank you so much." The next evening after work, Kyle dropped by a store and bought a perfume for Alicia. "I'm sorry, mister. Can you change this bill? It's torn." Kyle took back the $50 when suddenly he noticed something. This was the exact $50 bill, torn on the side, that Kyle had taken from the young woman at the store that day. but Betty never came to the store. How did she get this exact note? It was $250, but he had $300. I remember giving him a $50 and he left. Kyle returned home, not being able to make sense of the matter. He walked in to find the house dark. Betty was probably sleeping. Out of curiosity, he walked down the first floor. He slowly walked around, stopping at Betty's record player, placed right outside the basement door. That's when he caught sight of the door kept ajar. Was there something she was hiding? He sneaked downstairs, not knowing what he would find. But when he reached the bottom of the stairs, it was dark and damp. He patted the walls, searching for the light, but the minute he turned it on, he froze, seeing nothing but an empty chair, some shackles and stains on the ground, as if someone had been tied here. Kyle's heart began to race as he realized he might have discovered something he wasn't supposed to. But the minute he turned around, he saw Betty behind him, a menacing smile crawl up her face.
"Kyle?"
she said, but now in a deep, coarse, manly voice. Before Kyle could react, Betty picked him up with unbelievable brutish strength and threw him onto the ground. No one messes with Betty. Kyle had injured himself severely. His vision had started to compromise. He saw Betty pick up a rod to hit him, just when he heard another loud noise. "Police, put your hands up." Kyle, stay with me." When Kyle woke up, he was in the hospital. He turned to see Alicia beside him. "Alicia, what happened?" "We solved the case, all thanks to you." "Thanks to me? How? And how did you guys find me?" "It was the watch I gave you." When the BIIPD got their hands on the dress and traced it back to Brian, who informed them that Kyle wasn't at the store that night, they took him as the prime suspect. But since they didn't have enough evidence against him, they had to let him go. But that day, when the police chief saw Kyle and Alicia talking, he thought of a plan to get to the bottom of this case. "Do you know him?" "No, we had just met one time before." "Good, I have a task for you." Alicia was assigned an undercover mission to get closer to Kyle and keep an eye on him. This was when they gave her a watch equipped with a microphone and a tracker to give him, through which they could keep track on his every movement. That night, when Kyle entered into the basement, the BIIPD heard a loud noise and immediately went to catch him red-handed. But instead found the actual culprit, Betty Crimson, who was no woman, but the man behind the gruesome crimes occurring in town. If it wasn't for the watch, you wouldn't have been here today. But I couldn't figure out one thing. Why did you go to the basement? I wanted to get you a gift too, but I was short on money, so I went to Betty to borrow from her. That's when she gave me a $50 bill that one of my customers gave me. I got suspicious as to how she got it, and then I went there out of curiosity and put my life in danger, but I guess all this was just another tactic, officer. You know it's not my job to stay here the whole night waiting for you to come to your senses, right? So you feel the same way? Kyle said, sitting up, just when he felt a sharp pain in his ribs. Take it easy, hero. You haven't recovered yet. Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.